Greeting to you from anywhere you are watching this video. Yes, now last class we look at the annual repayments. Okay, how much will you be paying annually on mortgage? How much will you be paying annually? How much is he entitled to? But today we are looking at the other forms of it, which is how much are we expected to give you? How much are we supposed to give as a financial institution? First thing is you just have to like know the worth of the assets. If it's say they are bringing in their property or anything they are bringing in, what is the worth of that thing? When you determine the worth, so you say it varies from one is financial institution to another. But most institutions they can never give you 100% worth of your asset. If your asset worth 10 million and you need a loan of 10 million, they will not give it to you. They will rather give you something lesser than the worth of your asset. So now another thing is just they are not giving you the exact worth of your asset, but your asset it is generating income. Can the income your asset is generating, can it finance the loan? You cannot service the loan. It cannot service the loan. That means there's another calculation that will be done on it. But if you can service the loan, no problem. What do we mean by can it service the loan? Let's say you are after your valuation, after the valuation, the property worth, let's say the property worth 100 million, and they are giving out to third as a loan to be given, to be recommended to third. They will now check if the interest of the loan is 6%. 6% of your loan, is it equivalent to your rent, the rent your property is generating? If it is not equivalent to it, if it is lesser than your loan, than if it is lesser than the rent your property is generating, is commanding, then there will be issue. But if it is the same thing or more than what if it is the same thing, if your property is it has the same, is on the same level with the interest on the loan, or the property is commanding more than the interest on the loan, no problem with that. But if it's not the same, there will be issue. Now let's check it here now. Mr. Wale wishes to take a mortgage with his property on the island. Comparable property is currently let for 3.5 million. That is the full rental value, right? Analysis. Comparable property is let, that is the full rental value. It's let for 3.5, that is 3,500,000 naira. Comparable property is let with a yield of your yield I 5%. As well on the mortgage, on the maximum amount to be advanced, the mortgage grants 25 years term at a rate, the interest on loan, is what? 12.5%. And that loan, it will be the mortgage grant 25 years time. The term for your loan, the loan term is 25 years. That is, you will use the money for 25 years. So now to solve this, now let's go to valuation. Valuation, your full rental value, 3,500,000. Your YP in PEP, in perpetuity, at 5%. That is what? 20. Because 5% will be 1 all over 0.05. 1 divided by 0.05 is what? 20. 3,500,000 times 20. 35 times 2 is 70. This is 0. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This is the capital value. The capital value of the property is 70 million. Now, loan to be expended. Mostly, they will never give you more than the worth of your loan, of your assets. So now in some company, they will say 70%. Why some will say 60%? It varies. So now, for academics, most time they use 2/3. Loan to be recommended. Say 2/3 of 70 million is what? That is 140 million. 140 million divided by 3. 140 million divided by 3. We have 46,666,700. When your calculator, you have 666, let's say 700. This is the loan to be recommended, judging by the worth of the property. But another thing we need to consider is just the interest on loan is 12.5%. Now, calculation on the interest on loan. The interest on loan, the calculation on it now. 12.5% of this 46,666,700 is what? 12.5 is 12.5 all over 100 times 46,666,700. What do we have as our answer? 12.5 divided by 100 times 46, that is 0.125 times 46,666,700. We have 5,833,337.5. Now, this is 5,833,337.5. The property is commanding how much? 3,500,000. So, which means every year, that man will be paying this every year. This 5,000,000, and the property is commanding this. Where do we expect him to get this money? So, which means at this rate, at this 12.5%, this property, the rental income, the income on this property cannot service this loan. So we now do another calculation for it. Oh, this man, if you are to give him this money for the 6 million, you cannot pay, because every year will be paying this. So now what we do is we just say, at that rate, 12.5% of what will give us the rental income, which is what? 3,500,000. Why are we not using this as loan again? This is a loan to be recommended, but they will not give him now after this. Because if they give him this, they'll be paying this every year. And the property is commanding this. So to do that now, at this, we have the 12.5%, that interest on the loan. 12.5, that is what? 0.125 x equal to 3,500,000. Then x equal to 3,500,000 divided by what? 0.125. Then x equal to 3,500,000 divided by 0.125. That will give you our final 3,500,000 divided by 0.125. So the man will be entitled to 28 million instead of 46 million. With this 28 million, he will be able to pay the interest on the loan without stress. Another dimension to this question is this. Question can also come in another form, which is, they said, a freehold job in a first-class position led to a multiple on 21-year FRI is fully repaired and insuring lease, granted 16 years ago at a rent of 100,000 naira per annum exclusive. The present rental value on the same term is 500,000 naira per annum. The interest on the mortgage is 6%. Now to solve this, it's very simple as well. Just first thing is analyze. Let's start with the analysis. A free option in a first class position led to a multiple on 21-year lease, and it was let on 21 year. But when granted 16 years ago, this thing it will run for 21 years lease, 21 years. But it has been granted 16 years ago, which means it will run how many? 5 years. We have 5 years unexpired term that I have not spent. At a rent of the rent passing or rent reserve or rent paid is what? 100,000 per annum. The tenant in this property will pay 100,000 every year. The present rental value on the same time is what? The present rental value on the same time is 500,000 naira. The full rental value, FRV, is 500,000 per annum. The interest on the mortgage is what? Is at 6%. Interest on loan is at 6%. Now to solve this is a question on time and reversion. We have the landlord and the tenant here on time and reversion. So to solve this now, let's start with term. The rent passing or the rent reserve is 100,000 per annum. So now be YP for unexpired term, 5 years, at your rate. You can assume rate now. Let's assume rate to be 6%. This is okay. Let's assume rate to be 5% so that it will be different from our interest on loan. At 5%, the formula is 1 minus PV all over I. It means 1 minus 1 all over A all over I. So now let's go 1 minus 1 all over 5%, 1.05 raised to power, yes, 5 years, all over 5%, which is what? 0.05. We have 4.3295. 4.3295. What you multiply with this times 100,000. We have 432,950. 100,000 times 4.3295. This is the capital value, CV for 10. Now reversion. The reversion. Full rental value, which is how much? 500,000. 500,000. YP deferred for how many years? For 5 years at, I think that'll be 6% or use 5.5%. Remember, your term is always lower to your reversion, the I. And the formula is 1 all over IA. So now to solve this, 1 all over our I, 0.06 times 1.06 raised to power 5. We have 12.4543. times 500,000. 500,000 times 12.4543. We have 6,227,150. This is the capital value, CV, for reversion. Now add the two together, the time and the reversion, add them together. 432,132,950 plus 6,227,150. We have 6,660,100. This was the capital value of the property. Now, this is the capital value of the property. How much are we expected? How much will they give him? 2/3 of this thing, loan to be recommended. That is all. 2/3 of 6,660,100. What's our answer? $4,440,066.67. This is a loan to be recommended. Now, what is the interest of the loan? The interest on loan is about 6%. Interest on loan. Now, let's see if this rent can service this loan. Interest on loan. At 6%. That is 6% of 4,440,066 naira 0.67. What is our answer? 6% is what? 0.06. 0.06 0.06 times 4,440,066.67. We have 266,404. This is the value that we have. And the rent, the property is generating. The property is generating 100,000. And it's going to be paying this every year. So it cannot meet up with this 100,000. And you need to be paying 2,266,000. So as long as you cannot pay this, we will now use the other method, which is the other way we solve the first one, which is the interest on loan, 6%. 6% of what amount we equivalent to this our 100,000 is 0.06 s equal to 100,000. S equal to 100,000 divided by what is 0.06. S equal to 100,000 divided by 0.06. $1,666,000, let me say 700. So is entitled to this loan, not this loan. 4,440,000. No, they should give him 1,666,700 instead of 4,440,000. That is that this calculation of mortgage. Yes, like our channel, subscribe, and share with other students and people preparing for PPE, people preparing for NAIJ exam. This is helpful. This will help you a lot. This will help you a lot on your calculation. And check our previous video. We have treated some part of the premium, some part of time and reversion, some part of hardcore approach, the layer approach, some part of we have treated many questions on this valuation. So share with other students from different schools, and then people preparing for professional exam. They all need it. Thank you all for subscribing and thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel.